Blue Ridge Hospice thrift shops are bigger and better than ever, with a new and expanded site at one of our 2 Winchester locations and our 6 well-established boutiques across the area. Blue Ridge Hospice thrift shops attract bargain hunters, treasure seekers, collectors, and antiquers. Mention this ad on your next shopping trip and receive a 10% discount. Blue Ridge Hospice thrift shops gratefully accept your donations, including electronics and furniture. For locations, hours, and information on how to donate, please visit blueridgehospice.org.
The Shark Deck.
I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. John Early explained how he got to work with Taylor Swift. He told RacketMN.com, well, she loves Search Party, which I didn't know until she asked me to do the video. I didn't know she was aware of who I was, so she asked me to do the video and was so incredibly humble and professional in the way she asked me. She was like, I directed these other videos if you want to see samples of my work. You're Taylor Swift. I know who you are. Of course I'll do it. Let me jump in there. I went to see Taylor a couple of weeks ago with my daughter, and I said the weakness in Taylor's game is her stage banter, because she does this thing. It reminds me of the Eddie Murphy bit where Eddie's talking about Michael Jackson and Michael says, is it okay if I sing to you? Taylor will get up there and be like, well, golly gee, guys, I thought it'd be okay if I had one of my friends out and we sang a song for you. And the crowd goes nuts. It's like, what are we going to do, Taylor? Go, no, we don't want your friend to come out. Anyway, you're Taylor Swift. I know who you are. Of course I'll do it. I appreciate her not assuming her stature would just be a total given for me, which of course it absolutely was. Of course I was dying to do it. I've always wanted to be the Kathy Griffin to someone's Eminem. It's hilarious. I still get tweets from random Taylor Swift fans, DMs on Insta, from people all over the world who are like, please show this picture to Taylor. Just begging me to send her stuff. It's so funny. And I do. I send all of it. All right, then they asked John early, you're playing 1,100 seats, you've got an HBO special, you're buddies with Taylor. Are you feeling momentum career-wise? You think? He says, oh, I don't know. You always feel like you're alone in your house. That's what I find so beautiful about the tour. It's the first time in a long time I've felt any real people are receiving my work. It's so lovely. The entire industry, it's all social media, lives on social media. It's such an alienating, atomized experience. Doesn't feel like anything. It feels like air. With live shows, it's like, oh, people actually want to come see me. Joel McHale told Variety that production on the Community movie was about to start. He says, I think they were extremely close. I mean, Dan's somebody that tweaks things, but obviously that's all stopped. I think it was pretty darn close. Why did it stop? Writer's strike. Joel says it was close. The shoot date was coming up. We were all excited to do it, and then the writer's strike happened, which obviously put everything on hold, and rightly so. Brett Goldstein, you know him as AFC Richmond head coach Roy Kent. We're getting season 4, right? You guys aren't going to walk away from that moneymaker, right? Brett Goldstein, he's got a comedy show tonight in San Diego at the Civic Theater if you're in town, 7 o'clock. To play Roy Kent, Brett said he deepened his voice and changed his physical stance, shoulders back, stiff body, to represent the character's emotional withdrawal. In real life, he has a lighter, looser, chattier, and much funnier presence, but he does curse like his character, so the show's restricted to age 15 and up only. So I watched Ted Lasso with my wife, and I have this theory that Roy Kent is more attractive than Brett Goldstein. Straight married man, but Roy Kent has this aloofness and wears black clothes all the time that I don't think real life Brett has. Weigh in on this, ladies. Facebook group, Daily Comedy News Podcast Group. What do I know? What am I wearing? I'm wearing a Stormtrooper t-shirt and my Villanova hat. From Barbend.com, your home for comedy news. Irish strongman Pa O'Dwyer. Where are you going with this, John? Trust me. Irish strongman Pa O'Dwyer published a video on his YouTube channel where he and Tom Segura performed a strongman workout. Sure. O'Dwyer weighs 308 pounds. He's a 5-time Ireland Strongest Man champion. Tom Segura is none of that. The pair began flipping tires, which is a compound movement incorporating their glutes, hamstrings, quads, shoulders, pecs, and biceps. It's full body movement that starts between a squat and a deadlift of heavy tire and moves into a press to flip the tire over down a course. Barben watched the video and said Segura and O'Dwyer squat for enough leverage without compromising their backs. They maintain neutral spines. Once they explode from the bottom, they quickly adjust the load of the tire to their shoulders and chests while driving through a press to topple the tire to its opposite side. Julia Louis-Dreyfus, I'm planning on talking about her at length on tomorrow's podcast. She was on the Hot Ones pod. You know Hot Ones? You eat increasingly spicy chicken wings? She said, I don't know why anyone would subject themselves to this. She talked about one of the challenges of filming Seinfeld and said, what we were always challenged by was, as soon as you walk into Jerry's apartment, what do you do? What am I going to find to do in the apartment? You can't just come in and sit on the couch every time. You had the couch, you had the kitchen, you had the sweet spot, which I believe we called the alleyway between the counter and the couch. That's where a lot of stuff happened. I felt like if you could hold court there in a way, you also had to figure out what you were going to do, which is why I, as Elaine, would often go to the refrigerator and just find things, or even go look in the refrigerator and not do anything. We were limited. We had to be creative about it. The New York Post talked to Tom Papa about his new book and said, if you told me I had to live on the Upper East Side, making on the $5 a night I was making at the comic strip back in the day, had to stretch that money until you went there the next day, I'd quit. But I didn't even think about it then. Because of the inspiration that New York was, especially in stand-up comedy. I remember I was hosting shows and bringing up at the time Ray Romano, Jon Stewart, Brett Butler. These people had shows and I was saying their name and they were shaking my hand. I felt like it was a back door into show business that only New York could give you. All right, Tom Papa, were you a New York Post reader? He said, of course, especially when I was writing Weekend Update jokes for Colin Quinn. That was such a New York thing, but every moment would wake up, go to the corner, get coffee from the One Stop, and stop at the newsstand, get the Post, get the Times, and head back with your stack to start writing jokes, hoping Colin will use them on Saturday nights. It's been kind of a slow 2 weeks, and when it's a slow comedy news day, I do things like Google Joe Rogan, and usually something comes up that I can use as filler. For example, the headline, billionaire golfer Tiger Woods' weird handlers get dissed by Joe Rogan after Ari Shaffir's bizarre experience. Okay, essentiallysports.com recap this. Apparently Ari Shaffir told Joe Rogan, we did a commercial with Tiger Woods. They were like, don't curse around him. It's like before the scandal, they're like, don't curse around him, don't swear. And I was like, okay. But Ari says Tiger himself then casually used profanity, and Ari's like, I'm like, wait, did you just tell us not to do that? Rogan chimed in and said the people around Tiger, they're just handlers, they're weird people. There's weird people that get a kick out of having power over their star. They have power to access, they're like, you can't have access to the star, you can't get close to them. Sam B is back with a podcast, this one called Choice Words with Samantha B. What will Samantha B do on Choice Words with Samantha B? She will interview celebrities, politicians, and others, copywriting rule of 3, about the choices they made in their lives. Greg Barris has a new comedy special out on YouTube. It's already out. It's called Deep Healings. Recorded live in LA, it kicks off with an intro from Reggie Watts. Greg is known for his charismatic energy, twisted humor, and psychedelic leanings. Deep Healings features Greg Barris in an intimate setting where he expertly mixes his stand-up with audience interaction, moments of forgiveness, kink shares, family values or lack thereof, and interstitial meditations in one of the most original comedy specials of the year. He also has an album called Deep Healing, which was recorded separately from the special. Yes, my kind of comedy album, a comedy album that's actually a comedy album. The comedy album kicks off with an introduction by Nick Thune, who's fantastic. Fans around the country know Greg as a regular tour mate and opener for Tignet Sorrow. And that's your comedy news for today. Follow the show for free on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your show. Smash that like button. Yeah. See you tomorrow. All right, enough with the negativity. Hi, I'm Johnny Mack, host of 5 Good News Stories. It's a podcast twice a week. Every episode, I curate 5 heartwarming, uplifting news stories from around the world, showcasing the best of humanity, tales of kindness, fun animal stories, quirky items in the news, and you know what? More often than not, something about McDonald's. Can't explain why. I'll bring you a range of stories that will leave you feeling hopeful and optimistic. Start your day on a positive note. The number 5 Good News Stories. It'll make you smile. It'll start your day on a good note. 5 Good News Stories, wherever you get your podcasts.